Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome to the video and thank you for clicking on the video. Hopefully you guys are interested in finding out how to become a tactical strength and conditioning coach. But if you don't know what a tactical strength and conditioning coach is, it's a strength and conditioning coach that works with tactical athletes. It's law enforcement, firefighters, and military, and that can range from your regular guy in a police car to a SWAT team member. That could be fire and rescue, just your regular firefighters, EMTs, any other position within that fire world. And then military, you can be on the extreme end of special operations. You could be on the extreme end of special operations forces. You could be on the extreme end of working with special operations forces, or you could be on the other end working with just the conventional military. So if you don't know about these positions, hopefully you'll learn something new. But if you clicked on this video to find out more because you are interested in these positions, we'll be talking a little bit about the certification. I'll be talking a little bit about the certifications that you can get, how to get them, and what kind. I'll be talking about the certifications you can get and how to get them. I'll be talking a little bit about the certifications you'll need, how to get them, and where to look for jobs. Because this career field is becoming very prevalent nowadays. It's still very small and still very niche, and a lot of strength and conditioning coaches get into this because they were prior athletes and they want to train collegiate athletes. And many strength and conditioning coaches actually get into this because they were prior athletes and they want professional sports, or at the high school level working with other athletes as well. And some people actually become strength and conditioning coaches to open up their own businesses. And that's great and all, but in this video we're just strictly going to talk about becoming a strength and conditioning coach for the tactical field. So here we have both of the certifications that you can get through the NSCA. We have the Essentials of Strength and Conditioning, and for this one you actually need to have at least a bachelor's degree, and for this one you have to have at least a bachelor's degree to be able to sit down for the test. Here in about 10 years, take advantage now until they make this change, but they will be changing it to where you will have to graduate from a strength and conditioning certified course that's certified through the NSCA here in the future. That's what I've read. It doesn't seem to be going into effect anytime soon. It's going to be a long process, but take advantage of it now. The other certification you can get is the TSAC F, which is the Tactical Strength and Conditioning Facilitator. And this one, you only have to be 18 years old with a high school degree or equivalent, and you can sit down for the test. Granted, you are going to have some knowledge of biomechanics, physiology, and kind of how the body works to be able to understand a lot of the concepts and a lot of the information in this book. Now, when I was in grad school, I got the CSCS, and what I did to study was I read the entire book from cover to cover, and I highlighted, I did all the questions at the end of the chapters, and I used Pocket Prep, the Pocket Prep CSCS, and it was wonderful. I would take a test almost every other day. I would actually do an even larger test at the end of the week, and I would just continue to practice because it really does help to read a chapter, take a test, and then at the end of the week, all the chapters you've read, you take an even bigger test for that. At least it works for me. Now, unfortunately, I bought this Essentials to Strength and Conditioning only to see what kind of concepts and information was in the book. I don't ever plan on actually getting that certificate because in the job market, they only really require the CSCS. It's actually a step ahead of the TSAC. But I've worked with military in the past, and I was in the military myself, so I understood the population that I wanted to go work with, and I already had my CSCS. So it didn't really seem feasible for me to get another certificate on top of that. That wasn't going to enhance my opportunity to get into that job market. But if you're brand new to this world and you have no idea, this book is actually excellent. I went through all the content in there, and they actually have a lot of good information for firefighters, law enforcement, military, and the physiological stressors that they go through, and kind of how to program for that general population, and kind of how to program for that specialized population. So you're gonna get a lot of good information from both of these books if you've never worked in any of those fields. And I think the TSAC-F, if you don't have your bachelor's degree yet, is a great foot in the door. This will help you get into your local firefight. This will help you get into your local firehouses, your police departments, and you can work with that population. Show up, talk to them. You can show up, reach out. You can reach out, show up, talk and network. Tell them you have this, you want to help them out. It's probably not going to be at a cost, but you're going to be developing your skills, and you're going to be helping out your local fire and police departments. And the reason I don't say military is because it's a little bit harder to get internship opportunities with that population, but it's still possible. I recommend you go to the NSCA's TSAC conference. It's amazing. It's a great time. Been there twice. I go every other year, but if the opportunity presents itself and the company I work for pays for it, then I'll go every year. Otherwise, I'll just go every other year because it seems a lot more feasible for my schedule. So now that I talked a little bit about the certifications and how you can get these and what requirements you need, I feel like I should talk a little bit about kind of my background a little bit. And my background was 5 years active duty military, 2 years in the reserves, and I went to grad school for exercise and nutrition science, and during that time I worked with a really good friend of mine. And during that time I worked alongside who is a really good friend of mine now, a strength and conditioning coach who works with special operations population and the Army conventional military population. And through TSAC, I was actually able to network and meet him and go into... And actually through TSAC, I was able to network and reach out to him. And through TSAC, I was able to network and be connected with him and go intern with him for about a year. And I got a lot of value out of that. And as soon as grad school was done and I interned with them, I was able to go into the workforce, and I actually worked for Air Force Special Operations for about 18 months. And since then, I pulled away from the Special Operations world, and I'm now into the conventional Air Force. And the reason I did that is because, you know, I felt like there wasn't room for growth in that field because a lot of the jobs were contractor jobs, and these new jobs that are coming up in the conventional military world are civil servant positions. So are civil servant positions, and they have a scalability. You can actually move up to a position above you and become... You can actually move up from being a strength and conditioning coach to the director of the program. And I think that's pretty cool, and that's something that I'm really interested in. I'm really interested in leadership nowadays, so I'm learning a lot more about that. I've stopped learning so much about strength and conditioning. So I stopped putting a lot of focus into strength and conditioning, as I feel like I learned a lot And I still have a lot more to learn, but there are other things that I'm also interested in, and I want to develop those skills as well. So what was it like working with the military population? So you're probably wondering, what was it like working with the military population? Well, being that I was in the military prior, it really wasn't that crazy for me. It really wasn't that crazy for me. It was just like an everyday thing, just training military people. So for me, it was training regular people. And, tactical athletes, everybody has a varying degree of athletic ability, just depending on what kind of special operations community that you're in. I'm not going to dive too deep into that, but the majority of them need very well-rounded abilities. So you need to be able to program for all kinds of physical abilities and then also to their schedule. So now working for the conventional military is completely different, especially in the Air Force. No knock to the Air Force, but there's actually not that much of a fitness culture there. So we have to develop that. We have to bring people up from the bottom. It's more Gen Pop. So even though you need credentials to be in these positions, and the credentials that are needed are a master's degree, a bachelor or master's degree, certified strength and conditioning specialist, and over 5 years experience. And granted, sometimes you can get away with having less, and sometimes you can actually get away with having less, just depending on your specialized experience and how willing you are to pursue these positions and to network. So I don't have that much information on the law enforcement side or the firefighter side, but there are a lot of opportunities out there, and you can find all these on LinkedIn for the firefighter, and you can find all of these on LinkedIn. Just be very, very aware that just different keyword searches will bring up different jobs in different places. And if you didn't know this, if you want to work with the law enforcement side of things that is in the Department of Homeland Security with Customs and Border Patrol, you can look up these jobs under usajobs.gov, and that's exactly the same place that you look for some of these civil servant jobs within the military to become a tactical strength and conditioning coach. So don't go and type in tactical strength and conditioning coach, just type in strength and conditioning specialist, and then you're probably going to find some more stuff. Just be very wary that within that kind of search engine, it is a little bit different than just your typical LinkedIn, your typical Google. So you got to get a little bit more specific. You got to start reading the job announcements and start seeing the type of stuff that's actually put in the description, so you can kind of filter out some of the words that you can use to find other jobs in the future. So let's recap. Talked about some of the certificates that you can get. Essentials of Strength and Conditioning. I recommend this, but if you don't have your bachelor's yet, definitely recommend this one. Can you get both? Sure, if you're not used to working with the populations that you want to work with. So go ahead and cop both of these from the NSCA. Go to the NSCA conference. Make sure that you're willing to work with this population, because it's a very challenging population to work with. It's not an easy one. All right, there's a lot of challenges, and there's a lot of hurdles, and it's a lot of heartache, and it's consistent, hard work. So if you like the collegiate and professional setting, and this is not for you, don't come over to this side, because it's completely different. Coaches are a lot more open to share their knowledge and experiences, although there are some, and not so great people in this space as well who aren't as willing to share. I enjoy this kind of setting more because I love the willingness to share and gain information from others. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit about how you can become a tactical strength and conditioning coach, and what it takes to become a tactical strength and conditioning coach. I'll be making some follow-up videos. And I know I didn't talk much about my actual experience within the field, but I'm hoping to make that. But I'm going to be making that a different video. But I'm just going to explain that in a different video. That way you guys can just get straight to the point. And I know I didn't explain too much of what I specifically do in this position. I'll be getting to that in another video. So I hope you guys found this video informative. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope I enlightened you a little bit about the opportunities that there are within the tactical strength and conditioning field. And if you don't want to be, and if you want to be a strength and conditioning coach, but not in a collegiate or professional or high school or own your own gym setting, then you have other options to look forward to. Thank you guys. Please, if you found this video informative, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you learned anything. Let me know if you're a strength and conditioning coach that's wanting to get into the tactical field and what I can do to help you. I can potentially connect you with others that you can speak with, and I can give you my experience as well and help guide you in the proper direction to potentially secure a job in this field. And please subscribe. Catch you guys later. Thanks.